Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Joseph Waiswa, group member of Group 14. We present to you the lesson is learned from the COVID-19 pandemic for farmers that engage in global value chains, and also the range of strategy options that can be designed and implemented by organizations to survive demise now and in a future of similar and even much worse pandemics like COVID-19. This is our introduction. Global value chains and global supply chain refers to the people, the roles, and activities in the production of goods and services and their supply, distribution, and post-sales activities across border. We all know that COVID-19 is one of the worst humanitarian crises the economies across the globe have witnessed. We have had forced lockdowns, social distancing, and restricted mobility have contributed to large-scale disruptions in the global value chain network worldwide, as given below. There has been a decrease and delay in materials exported from China, for instance, which has resulted in decrease in production on changes and input sources in many countries. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of this paper is to discuss the lessons learned from COVID-19 pandemic for farmers that engage in global value chains, and also discuss a range of strategy options that can be designed and implementation by organizations to support demise now and in future, even in worse pandemic like COVID-19. Below are some of the lessons learned. I would like to start with the utilization of the internet and social media. Ugandans and then people outside have now realized that social media and then the use of the internet is now essential. People have realized that they need to use the Facebook, Twitter to put their products so that they can look for customers. Another point is diversification of the supply chain. It is also another lesson from the pandemic. We all know that companies have now started diversifying their organizations. I beg to invite my friend to pick on from there.
I'm Abul Daisy Onoba, a member of Group 14. The next point that we'll be sharing is vendor diversification. During the height of the pandemic, we saw many organizations and the carriers all not allowing to carry out or render their services to people in the claim that they were at full capacity. So this taught us as logistics students that we need to be prepared for tough times in need for vendor diversification. Because with vendor diversification here, we are looking at having many vendors instead of a sole vendor. We also learned a lesson to plan ahead. This is termed as contingency planning, whereby if you should have plan B and C in waiting, such that you will be able to overcome any challenges that can come unaware in the global chain. We also got to know about a challenge in the supply chain success, which depends on flexibility. This focuses on driving technology adoption as merchants demand more visibility and orchestration. Relying on technology enables quicker pivots when disruptions occurs. So with this, we learned a lesson that you need to be flexible to change according to what the situation calls for. With this, I'll invite another participant to come and submit.
My name's Irate Caroline from Group 14, continuing with the lessons learned. The next lesson is optimization cash flow. This one means you have to stay on top of your cash flow and keep it optimized. If disaster strikes and you don't have cash in hand, you may find yourself in deep trouble. So conduct regular forecasts, cut expenses, save money, and stay on top of accounts receivable to make sure the cash is consistently available. The next point is the companies now understand automation is a necessity, not a nice to have. The need to reduce the dependency on human labor is required for companies to remain competitive and profitable. The pandemic accelerated the shift to e-commerce in all categories. This means a high number of orders, more stock, keeping units at each facility, more stress on the freight carriers, and so on. The supply chain is quickly adapting to this change. Let me invite the next speaker.
My name is Aaron Ahumrisa. I'm tackling part B, the strategy options that can be implemented by organization survive the demise now and the future for the similar worst pandemic of COVID-19. Resilience. This includes the ability to bounce back. Organizations need to adopt new policies and develop ways of mitigating supply chain risks, for example, emphasizing multiple supply strategies. Another point, digitalization. This helps organizations to go online and have e-commerce. This will help them to acquire goods and services even when the times of lockdown are in supply chain process. Let me invite the following colleague to add on. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Elim Ibrahim. I'm from Group 14. I'll continue from where my colleague has stopped from the strategies. The third strategy is multiple supplier, where organizations will be able to push ahead since they have different suppliers supplying them with products or materials for the production to continue. This will help organizations have less resilience on any supplier providing a safety net. If a supplier runs into difficulties, multiple suppliers can also help the buyer with the competition between the suppliers which often provides the buyer with more bargaining power and value for money. The other point is supporting local supplier. This will help the local companies keep operating, being that one cannot get goods from abroad and foreign suppliers. The local suppliers can also be there to supply the needed items. This can be done by the government through subsidies and reduce taxes to the local industries, which protects home industries and help organizations to keep in operation. For example, where government supported the NITIL to supply masks for the nation as a whole. Thank you so much. Let me call upon my next colleague to summarize. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Ochaya Top, a member of Group 14. I'm here to add on a strategy that people can adopt after pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, that is the value of digitalization. It became well understood during the pandemic that companies that were further along their digital journey were able to quickly adjust their operating models to restrictions brought by pandemic. The resulting improvement in agility, productivity, and customer experience ensure digitalization impact will be long-lasting. In conclusion, COVID-19 has been a global struggle. It has highlighted the need for stronger and more responsive relationship between buyers and suppliers across borders. It has been highlighted that with external shock of this scale, a collaborative approach is the only way to find a resolution. There will be more external shocks in relation to resource depletion, economic downtowns, and climate change, to name but a few. Hopefully, we will be in position to both avoid address this with a more sustainable supply chain as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much.